Hi, this is Ben Llewellyn, and today I'm talking about flags. The flags of these two countries, what makes them so unique compared to almost every other flag in Europe and maybe even the world. There's one thing that connects these, which is quite extraordinary. Flags tell a lot about a country. The choice of a flag sets apart its characteristics, its identity, its values, and expresses them to the world in an encapsulated piece of cloth. One of my favorites, Japan. What this flag says to the world is that we're encompassed in these islands, in this red dot, and we're at peace with the world. Our time of going out and conquering and waging war with other countries is over. We're at Zen and we're at peace with everyone. And this serene red dot is really quite beautiful for all that it says in that white space. The Basques and the Breton are both minority peoples within a larger state. Let me show you where they are on the map. Here is the Breton, and down here you have the Basques, which straddle both Spain and France along the Pyrenees. And the Breton have most of a peninsula, although parts of their country are in different administrative units, but that's another conversation. Before I get into their specific flags, I want to give a broad spectrum of the flags that are available in Europe. They fall into three main categories. The first is the Christian crosses. Now these are most pronounced in the North Atlantic, and there's a reason for this, because that was the last time that the North Atlantic went through a profound cultural shift in its communal values. And so that moment of profound change has carried forth in what it considers its most sacred values, and that's expressed in many of the flags in these countries. The next category of flags I want to mention are those countries which adopted a tricolor flag. This type of flag represents a large percentage of the flags found in Europe and the world, and this came into being mostly in the 18th and 19th centuries during a period of revolution and the creation of republican ideologies. The Basques and the Breton were not included in this republican ideology when creating their flag. You get tricolor flags in both horizontal and vertical forms. The third type of flag, which is a category found in many flags across Europe, are the coats of arms and connections with royal families. My country, Wales, adopted the Tudor colours of the Tudor dynasty and the Welsh dragon from the post-Roman period, which was a symbol of the Welsh kingdoms. Before I go into what actually makes the Basque and the Breton flag so unique and similar to each other, I want to give you a brief overview of what created their flags and the symbolism that went into creating those flags. First, the Basques. This is the Basque flag, the ikurrina, and that word comes from ikur, meaning a mark or a sign, which itself comes from a verb to read, irakuri. And this is quite common in various different languages, even though Basque is separated from it's separated from every language. And you get this in the Basque, and so what the word for flag means is a sign, and literally to read a sign. And the name of the flag itself, ikurrina, the A at the end is a definite article, which means that it is the flag, the Basque flag. So they put that A on the end to mark that it's really important to them. It was devised by Luis and Sabino Arana in the year 1894. Sabino Arana is quite an important fellow. He devised the national anthem, this flag, helped found the Basque Nationalist Party, which campaigned from the beginning for the independence of Basques and having their own country. He also renamed the country, gave it a name. His legacy is very important. He was also a racist, but it was 1894. We can't go back and blame people for that today. The Ikorina was used in the Spanish Civil War when the Basque Autonomous Region was founded in 1936. It became a flag for them, and it was used by the Spanish Republican Navy and to do with the blockades, getting in and back and forth to give supplies to the Republican armies. They lost, however, and Franco, the fascist, banned and made it against the law to fly this flag from the 1930s all the way until 1977. Now, what do the colors and images represent on this flag? The red are the Biscayan or Basque people, as there being a race of people, as Sabino Arana wanted them to be called a race. The green is the tree of Guernica, which is an ancient symbol about the laws of the Basque people, and what are called in Spanish fueros, which are the ancestral laws of the Basque people. And the tree of Guernica has a major role to do with those customs. The white cross is, as you saw in the categories of the flags, is the Christian tradition. They are a deeply Catholic people, and so they take that category of flags and put it on top of the other ones. And there's something else really special about this flag, which it has in common with the Breton flag, and I will get to that after the Breton flag. The Breton flag is called the Gwen Hadu, which means the white and black. Compare this to Welsh, and you see how similar those two languages are. In Welsh, Gwyn Adi, or if it's feminine, Gwen Adi, even more similar, really similar. So in many cases, these two languages are completely intelligible for the very basic things, of course. The inventor of the Gwen Hadi is quite different from the Basque Sabino Arana, because he wasn't into the militant kind of nationalism so much. He was a federalist, he was in architecture and into design. And so when he created this flag, he knew a lot about artistic design. And so a lot of thought went into this flag about what he wanted to present as the values of the Breton people. And it's quite interesting what he chose. Moravan Marshall was part of Ces Breux, which was an artistic group of Breton cultural artists. And it's important because he would have known a lot about the symbolism of the Breton culture. These aren't quite stars here, these are ermine furs. And this was a heraldic image from aristocratic families, the Dukes of Brittany. And this takes from that category of flags found across Europe, which involves that carrying on of medieval history. So he wanted to present that. The other part of this flag are these 9 bands, and these represent the old 9 bishoprics of Brittany, which were encompassed in 5 dioceses. And the church, those parishes, if you want to go down further in divisions, really held the Breton identity in the medieval period. So this is going back, but it's also proclaiming a territorial integrity, which became even more important as the decades wore on, because these represent these 9 distinct regions, and some of them are beyond what the French state has determined is Brittany today. So the Breton flag itself is a proclamation of the territorial integrity of Brittany, which the French state is often in contentions with. It's quite a bold statement, but the boldest statement is what it has in common with the Basques flag. This flag did go under restrictions in the 30s. There was a bit of a shunning of it from the 40s and 50s on, but going into the 70s, it really became a symbol of protest for the Breton people. And going into today, It's used in football and throughout the Breton region in stadiums and across Brittany as well. So what it has in common with the Basques is what I wanted to show you in this video. These two flags do something which I'm not sure I've found in any other country in Europe, possibly even the world. And that is, they both emulate a global superpower whilst they don't even have a nation state of their own. And what this is doing is saying, we are a strong people. We're going to emulate the Great British Empire on the one hand for the Basques, and we're going to emulate the United States of America on the side of the Breton. And it's interesting why they chose these different ones. The Basques are traditionally a seafaring people. They're very proud of the sea. And so by taking the symbol of the Union Jack in a way aesthetically and morphing it into Basque symbolism, they're really making a statement that we can be even stronger than the Spanish Empire. And that is a bold statement. It really does reflect Sabino Arana's worldview of who the Basques are. The Breton chose the flag of a republic to stand against a republic, while the Basques chose the flag of a monarchy to stand against a monarchy. And these are two really radical ideas to think of, because the Breton could not turn to monarchist beliefs within a republic when most of the nobility had been guillotined. They had to turn to some type of other republicanist belief that was in many ways contra or against the French beliefs, whilst at the same time talking about liberty and freedom. So that's what I really find striking about both these flags, and I hope you found that interesting as well. And when you look at flags across Europe and the world, it's not just that these are colors or images. Every nation is actually making a statement about the values it wants to express to the world, but more so about the values it wants to hold in itself. Flags are really important. They say a lot in a very small bit of cloth. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.